And I don't know about you, but I think there's a lot of potential for abuse where individuals, whoever they may be, the politicians decide which firms will get a subsidy from government. I'm a fiscally conservative and a big believer in the market system. I think a much better system would be to take that $161 million and put it back into the unemployment insurance fund so that our employers would not be faced with increased taxes on all of our payrolls. Because what about the firm that doesn't get a subsidy from the state government? And there's only a very small number of these firms: Washington Mutual, Countrywide Financial, Allstate, Nationwide Insurance recently, usually very big firms who get these subsidies from state government, and meanwhile it's paid for by all the taxpayers of our state. I think we ought to suspend that practice. Now, maybe fewer photo opportunities for the politicians giving around the subsidies, but I don't know how many people here in this audience are associated with employers or HR departments where you've got the subsidy from the state that's paid for by other employers, but I venture it will not be very many. And I think a better way for us to deal with employment during a downturn is not to tax all the employers in the state to give particular firms subsidies, but rather work hard to avoid increased tax burden on all the businesses in our state. Does that make sense? And you also save airplane fare because the taxpayers also pay for the airplane trips, or the elected official who goes around handing out the subsidies and holding press conferences. The third thing we need to do is we need to prepare our workforce for the future. I'll tell you a story. When I was on the executive committee of the Greater Eastern Partnership, which is a umbrella business organization, Chamber of Commerce, for an 8-county area, this is before I was mayor, when I was building businesses, we had, within this organization, we would have a round table with the CEOs of companies that were not, we had an executive committee of, I want to say, well, we had a board of about 100 to 150, an executive committee of about, I'd say, 20 of us. And we had member businesses that were much greater. So our member businesses would have a round table with the CEOs. And this was in the late 1990s, when the government was not borrowing money to pay operating expenses and when the economy was doing well. And we asked at that time, tell us, we went around the table, we did it every 6 months. We said, identify for us, your company and your biggest competitors to what? We did that every 6 months. And for 3 straight sessions, every single person, when we raised just that question, said, identify 1 or 2. Number 1, number 2, or sometimes both of these 2 impediments to growth. When we listened to our customers and began to respond to our customers, the business people, not like the politicians who give speeches and more interested in speeches than solutions, of partisanship rather than bringing people together. And they said the 2 biggest is we need to, sometimes, this is true in Houston and different parts of Texas, the same thing. When we want people to relocate, they think that, how would I say, everybody wears a cowboy hat, or everybody has a horse, or there's no cultural amenities, or, it's sagebrush all the time. You know what I'm saying? That they have this stereotype that we need quality of life amenities that can attract some of those skilled workers. And the second thing is it's workforce skills and training. Workforce skills and training. And I'll tell you, the Lubbock Avalanche Journal did a great public service for a long time. It still may be there. It was on the website before I also put it on my campaign website. A document that should be a blueprint for those who are thinking about preparing our communities to compete for the future. It was a report on competitiveness in higher education in Texas. A blue ribbon panel appointed by pages with charts and tables, and it's critical to take a look at it. Texas is not preparing its citizens as well as many other states and countries to compete for the jobs of the future in the world of now. I mean, we've been blessed generation after generation with being near the, for 100 years, for being near the top 1, 2, 3 in job growth every decade and every generation in Texas. And by the way, if I or anybody else, any politician tries to take credit for everything good in Texas, you know they've been in office too long. Because who can take credit for 100 years of progress? We're decade after decade into it. And we're friendly people, we're hardworking people. We believe in opportunity, not entitlement in our state. We have an affordable cost of living. We believe in limited government. All these have been our historical underpinnings, which won't change in our state. But we need to prepare our citizens to compete in a global economy where every single year our competitors are not standing still. Generation after generation, America was #1 in the percentage of its young people of college age that are in college, and just within a matter of a decade we dropped from #1 to #10. This is America as a whole, as other people are seeing that higher education, 2-year, 4-year, is a key to success. We are near the bottom of the nation in the percentage of our adults who have a high school diploma. Some of the years it's 49, others 50, out of 50 states, really low. And we've seen college tuition soar. I don't know whether there's any tech graduates here. Is there any tech graduates here? Or, colleges or any other colleges, tuitions have stayed still to going up by 92%, 4-year colleges in the last 6 years. 92% increase in the last 6 years in the price of a 4-year college education. And as a result, here's what this report says. It says that this generation of working people ages 25 to 35 has a smaller percentage of associate degrees and better than does the workforce 35 to 55. Well, that's not sustainable if we're going to have a growing economy. What it predicts is that we will continue to see Texas lag behind the average income in the United States of America. And that gap, there wasn't a gap 30 years ago, but the gap has been growing. It's been growing faster as we have made that the #1 priority by government in all levels. And there's things that we can do. So please, it is not just the classroom teacher, and it's not just the professor. The entire business community needs to take a dropout rate as an emergency. It's not just those kids. Hey, if somebody goes to is injured in a basketball game and they tear up their knee like my son did at a game a year ago. I mean, everybody in the stands rises, we catch our breath, say a prayer, applaud, and the MRI is done, an emergency unit comes in, and they're certainly treated as an emergency, and we should. But is that the same way we treat it when somebody doesn't come back to school? Or is it treated as something more routine? But when you think about it, for that individual's life, you can fix a knee, but it's hard.